You know how we all check the weather, right? But what if I told you there's a way more important forecast that pretty much all of us are missing? Yeah, it's not about rain or shine. It's about the very air you're breathing on your street, right at this very moment. We are about to pull back the curtain on this invisible world that is shaping our health every single day.
So think about the last time you saw an air quality report for your city. It was probably just one single number, right? For the entire city. But does that actually make any sense to you? The air in a leafy green park versus a highway just choked with traffic? Or what about the air outside your kid's school when everyone's dropping them off? Come on, they are not the same, not even a little bit. And that single number, it's a dangerously simple story.
And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the citywide average. It's blurry, it's impersonal, it's basically a statistic. But on the right, that's your reality. That's the air you actually breathe when you walk out your front door, where your kids play. One is just a number. The other is a direct line to your family's health. And the huge gap between those two things, that's where all the risk is hiding. So yeah, that gets us to the real heart of the issue here. When it comes to the air in our own communities, our own backyards, we are, for all intents and purposes, flying completely blind. We're trying to make these huge decisions about our health without the most basic essential information. It's like trying to navigate a ship in a storm with no radar.
I mean, think about it. Our cities aren't just these uniform concrete grids, right? They're these vibrant, living patchworks of tiny little micro-environments. Every single neighborhood has its own unique rhythm of traffic, its own pollution sources, its own daily life. And a single citywide number just completely erases all of that complex, vital reality.
And look, the systems we're using now, honestly, they're from the 20th century, and they're failing us in some really big ways. Like those big static monitoring stations everyone relies on, they create these massive, kilometer-scale blind spots in the data. The models that use to guess what's happening, they totally miss the sudden, dangerous spikes in pollution that can happen in an instant. And those daily averages, they tell you absolutely nothing about whether your morning jog is healthier than your evening one. So the bottom line is, with no real data at the community level, there is zero accountability.
But what if we could just flip a switch, you know? What if we could go from flying totally blind to having this crystal clear, high-definition view of the world around us? Well, this is where a groundbreaking new approach comes into play, one that lets us see the air in a way we never, ever could before.
So, say hello to Sparrow. It's this incredible platform that essentially turns regular city vehicles, we're talking buses, service trucks, you name it, into a moving, breathing network of high-tech air quality sensors. So instead of just a few lonely, static dots on a map, imagine a living, constantly updating picture of your city's environment. Okay, so how does this whole thing work? It's actually a brilliantly simple four-step process. First, these smart sensors, they call them nodes, are just mounted on existing city vehicles. Easy enough. Then, as those vehicles go about their normal day, they're constantly grabbing incredibly detailed data, literally block by block. After that, some powerful AI works its magic, turning all that raw data into these beautiful, easy-to-read pollution maps. And the final step, the most important one, is that this information actually gets into the hands of people who can use it to make a real difference. Okay, so that's the tech. But what does it actually mean for you and me, for our daily lives? Well, it means we get to make this fundamental shift from a world of complete guesswork to a world of meaningful action. And let me tell you, the difference is like night and day. All right, first, let's just take a second and think about the world we live in right now. A world of really limited information, a world where we're pretty much always forced to be reactive instead of proactive.
This should sound pretty familiar. You get one vague AQI number for your whole city. You have absolutely no idea which streets on your commute are the most toxic, or what time of day you should avoid taking a walk. Our healthcare system can only jump in after problems have already happened. And you, your community, you're left in the dark, feeling pretty powerless.
Okay, but now imagine this. Let's step into the world after Sparrow, a world filled with clarity, with empowerment, and most importantly, with prevention.
Suddenly, in this new world, you have access to pollution maps that are constantly being updated. You can literally see the toxic corridors to avoid and even find these little clean air pockets to seek out. And with that data, you can design healthier routes for walking to school or biking to work. The bottom line, we finally get to stop just reacting to health problems and start preventing them before they even begin.
And you know, when you talk about prevention, about being proactive, there's one group that comes to mind immediately, the most vulnerable among us. where this technology can have the absolute greatest impact. Our children.
See, kids aren't just tiny adults. Their lungs are still developing, which makes them incredibly susceptible to pollutants. And because they breathe faster, they just naturally take in more of the bad stuff. So protecting them isn't just about them. It is the single most powerful way to create a healthier community for absolutely everyone.
Okay, so the first pillar of this strategy is just its genius. By putting Sparrow nodes on school buses, you turn every single bus into a mobile health lab. It's measuring air quality on every route at every single stop. This data can pinpoint pollution hotspots, help redesign routes to go through cleaner air, and even provide the hard evidence needed to make the switch to electric buses. We're talking about protecting kids during the hundreds of hours they spend on a bus every single year.
And it doesn't stop at the bus ride. The second pillar here takes this whole picture approach. It's not just about the commute, it's about the entire school day. This technology can show exactly how pollution from that morning drop-off line is literally seeping into the classrooms, giving schools the data they need to improve ventilation and actually protect students while they learn.
And this third pillar, honestly, this is the real game changer. For the very first time, a pediatrician who's treating a child with asthma won't just be guessing about their environmental triggers. They'll have a patient's actual exposure history based on where they live and the route they take to school. This is the missing link, the bridge between environmental data and clinical decisions. It has the potential to completely transform pediatric care as we know it. So when you put all of this together, what are we really looking at? We're looking at building a healthier future. Not with these broad, one-size-fits-all policies, but with precision. Street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood. It's about finally making the invisible visible.
You know, there's a quote that just absolutely nails this whole shift in thinking. It's this: the shift is from city averages to neighborhood truth, from reactive healthcare to preventative intelligence. That says it all, right? We're moving away from vague averages and toward the undeniable truth of our own neighborhoods.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. Because this isn't just about data and maps, it's about power. It's about giving you the power to choose a healthier life. So I'll leave you with this. If you could see a real-time map of the air on your street, on your jogging path, on your child's walk to school, what's the very first thing you would change?